Hey everyone, this is David, or Actlikeagrandmaster, and today what we're going to be doing is analyzing some games, some chess games from Coach Champs. I meant to do this sooner, so I'm coming in a little bit late. I think they've had about 6 rounds. It's October 9th. Actually, I'm coming in really late. It goes from September 10th to October 10th, and right now it's October 9th. So I guess they probably have one more round. Or I'm not sure how many. Well, let's see. Um, what's the schedule? Um, I'm not really sure. Let's check out the games. According to this, they've had 7 rounds. Okay. So far, and there are 4 games in each round. Um, I'm not sure how many games I'm gonna analyze today. I'm gonna get at least through the round 1 games. Um, I was here earlier, and for some reason, this first game doesn't come up. Like, it's weird. I don't know. There's no moves, so I can't analyze this game. But it was DQ versus the learner, and it was a draw, which I'm surprised because there's. It's funny that there's. I'd assume there'd be a way with the help of the knight to promote this pawn, but maybe not. Okay, so let's try the next game. See, this one, the moves come up, so I can analyze this one. Alright, this was a game between House of Pancakes playing with the white pieces, ranked with a rating of 1432, against Frank with the black pieces with a rating of 1530. So Frank has the advantage, but it looks like House of Pancakes won. Let's take a look. And I will be using Stockfish to help. Let's see. All right. So e4, c6. So this is the Caro-Kann. And from here, generally you play e5, or you play knight c3. And the computer also likes knight d2. So those are the 3 main moves. Let's see. Okay, so that's a good move. They played knight c3. Now, what the way I play it is I would take this pawn. And then when the knight captures back, there's 3 main ways. You either bring the bishop out, or you bring this knight out, or this knight out. Those are the 3 main ways that I am aware of. Let's see what they do. Alright, so they play g6, which is definitely not one of the top moves, and white's already ahead by almost 1 point, 0.88. And I think this might also be bad because if white pushes the pawn, then without this pawn supporting the f6 break, it's harder to play. You probably still can because you got the support of your e pawn, but it's probably slightly harder to play. And it's awful because if the pawn pushes, then your knight can't come out here. So it's definitely a huge advantage for white. And that's what white does. And black develops the bishop. White develops the knight. And this is the first mistake that the computer says is a mistake, and it looks like it because I mean it looks like the best move. Well, let's see if what black should have done is like either f6 to challenge to do a pawn break to challenge this pawn, or bring your bishop out. And black didn't do either of those moves. All right, so white is up a pawn and a half at this point. So he developed. I don't know if House Pancakes is a guy or a girl, so he or she develops the bishop. Technically, I don't know if Frank is a guy or a girl either. I'm assuming it's a guy. Okay. So black develops the knight the best way that it can. Then white castles, black castles. Then white decides to bring the knight back, which seems okay. I mean, like in this position, the position is closed. So I guess if you wanted to attack the king, the best thing to do is to bring your pieces over to the king side. So I guess that's what white is doing. This is a mistake by the computer. Now white's up by almost 2.5 points if they play c3, which would keep the knight from coming in. But what should have black done instead? Alright. I guess the only good move for black would have been to play c5. Which to me is tough to spot because it's a tough idea giving up your pawn right off. Let's see what the computer has in mind. If they played c5 and white took, then now it's in favor of black. It says knight e to c6. I guess you're putting more pressure onto this pawn. And then white should play c4, I guess. This is crazy. Yeah, I don't know. But it's about even. So all right. So c5 is a tough move to see. The next move it says is bishop d7. That move I could find. I'd be able to find bishop d7. It says also a5 is a good move. That would be tough for me to spot. But bishop d7 I'd probably play knight. I don't like this position because the pawn blocks in the bishop, so I wouldn't have played this at all. But I guess by bringing the knight out there, maybe you're trying to support c5. All right. Let's see. White plays a3 to stop the knight from coming in. I'm glad white didn't just decide to trade the bishop for the knight. I'm glad they didn't do that because the bishop is definitely better than the knight. Even though, actually, this is a close position, so actually giving the bishop up for the knight in this position might not be so bad. The only thing is, black is cramped for space, so it's better if you don't trade down, because if you would, right now, black doesn't have much room for his pieces, so by trading pieces, you're helping black. So, it's best not to trade. Alright, so they play b6. I'm guessing they want to bring their bishop here. White develops his other bishop. Again, you probably don't want to trade down because black's the one that's cramped. But this is a closed position, so if you did trade for this knight, the bishop for the knight, that I don't think that'd be so bad. This is white's bad bishop because it's on the same color as these pawns. So trading it off for something is probably fine. But I don't think you need to trade at all in this position. But I don't see a forcing way to win this game. You got to get in the pawn breaks, I'm guessing. Let's see. All right. Black decides to get out of the pin. White develops the queen. Black develops the bishop. All right. White decides, I want to trade this bishop for this bishop. Trade the bishops off. Again, I think this bishop isn't that good. But if the position did open up more, maybe this bishop would become better. So maybe trading it off is a good idea, since your bishop isn't very good either. But the question is it better to trade off for this bishop or this knight? Because the bishop could have traded for the knight. This knight could go here. So is that too good of a knight? Would it have been better if the bishop would have traded for the knight? Maybe. Maybe. All right, black finally plays c5, and then white trades off the bishops. And then plays c3, defending this pawn. That's probably good. Probably a good idea. All right, black pushes and drives the bishop back, gains some space. Again, I don't see why white is winning by so much. White's winning by 2.5 points. I don't get it, because with the position so closed, the only thing I see is if white brings his pieces to the king side, pushes some of these pawns down to try to create an attack. That's the only advantage I see that white might have. Let's see what happens. All right, so black doesn't know what to do, so he shuffles the rooks. Again, no pawns have been traded, so there are no open files for the rooks. Not yet. All right, queen comes out. Again, I mean, you should bring your pieces over to the king side, so this is probably good. I think this was actually the best move, I think. Wait, queen f, well, maybe not. Well, no, it's still fine. Still almost 3 pawns up. So it was a good move. It's just, you gotta be really good tactically. Like me, I'd be trying to win on the clock. In a 10-minute game, I'd be trying to win on the clock. I'd probably, I don't know, try to push this pawn down, try to trade it off for one of these, open it up. I don't, maybe bring my rooks, not there, but over here and try to get it up and over. I guess your queen can go here. Is that good? I mean, it's closer to the king, so it might be good. And then bring your knight. Maybe you can gather up on this pawn. I don't know. Let's see. All right. See, this is where I wish the bishop would have traded for the knight, because I don't know. The knight looks, it's helping to defend the king, and it looks pretty good. So knight comes over, pawn up. So we trade the knights. How do I feel about this pawn being here? I feel like it's helping the protection of the king. Bring the knight over? Sure. I don't know why. I guess you can't push this pawn because this pawn hangs. I think you need to bring your rooks. Your rook up and over. That's what I think. Or you got to push these pawns somehow. Like, you got to push these pawns. Okay, I think that's a good idea. Trying to get your knight over to help defend. I think that's a good attempt. Let's see. Wow, I don't. Okay, the computer says bishop takes f5. So the best move is to sacrifice your bishop. And you'd be getting 2 pawns. Yeah, open up the position, I guess. Anyway, queen goes over. Alright, this is a blunder because you can take this pawn and then win the queen. Because this pawn is pinned to the king. It can't capture the knight. Let's see if they see it. They do. King goes back, and now white has the queen. Alright. You're up a queen. What would you do? There's still no clear way to win. So, to me, I'd be trying to win on the clock. I'd be trying to, like, I know I'm winning. I got more pieces. So, just keep making moves and force the position back. First you gotta save this knight. I don't know if you can. King goes over. Okay, according to the computer, there's mate in 5. I totally wouldn't see it. But it likes queen f6. And I guess if black takes the knight, this is checkmate. Interesting. Me, I'm the type of person who likes to win positions, like gradually, converting the win. I don't normally see checkmates that often. Okay. So, what does white do? Alright, white goes, I'm going to lose the knight, so I might as well get a pawn for it. Makes sense. Black captures back. Now here, to me, in my just trying to convert the win, instead of looking for mates, what I'd be trying to do is push these pawns down, because it's 4 versus 2. So if you trade 2 pawns off for 2 pawns, you should be able to get a pass pawn and then try to make a queen. And then black will have to sacrifice his rook for the new queen, and then you're up a rook. And then you have one, since you're trading, so you have 4 pawns, and you're trading 2 for 2. If you trade 2 of them for your 2, that means you got 2 pawns left. 1 pawn gets traded for a rook because it's going to be a queen. The second pawn gets traded for the rook or maybe the knight because it's going to be a queen, and then you're just up a lot of material. That's what that's my game plan. Let's see. Okay, so white is trying to find a checkmate. Otherwise I don't. Let's see, the computer likes f4. Again, pushing these pawns. That's what I think. And it's supported by the rook already. So that's the only thing I'd like, is somehow maybe this rook would get into the game, either trade itself off or get behind one of these pawns to help push the pawns forward. It's nice that this bishop is blocked. Maybe it can get out here, but it's not helping the game. So it's like black is like down a bishop. That's what it feels like. The knight can come right here, so the knight's, I don't think the knight's totally out, because it can attack this queen and help defend these pawns and the king. Let's see. So white checks, black runs, and again the computer likes f4, pushing these pawns. And it's nice that this bishop is looking at this square. So, and the rook is also, so maybe you want to go f4 and then f5. I think black would have to trade pawns. Then you trade, and then again, a pair of pawns got traded. And so now you would have this clear pass pawn that could go all the way up. That to me seems like a good game plan. But white decides to try to get the rook into the game a different way. Black runs. White gives a check. Black runs. See, I don't know what white is trying to do. I don't know. Because, well, he's attacking this pawn. He's attacking this pawn. Okay. But, well, white maybe foresaw this. Maybe saw that if black defends, then you can take this pawn. If white saw that, that's pretty good. And I doubt it. I think white got lucky. Because they're only 1500 or 1430. So the rook defends, and then white takes the pawn. The king comes back. Why, I don't know. White checks. To me, white is trying to find a quick checkmate. But all I see is that he got the knight involved. The computer says that you can totally take this pawn. So even though it pins the bishop to the queen, it's still fine. It's the best move. But white decides not to do that and loses the bishop. But for a pawn. So white's still massively up. And the thing is, it's too bad the bishop's gone, but at least these two pawns are gone. So you're still headed in the right direction. All you got to do is push these pawns down, maybe get the rooks behind them. The only other thing I can see is, I don't know, if black defends, you could trade these pawns off and then try to trade the rooks off on the A file. That's another plan that would be fine, I think. Alright, so he opens the file. That's fine. At least this rook is active now and is attacking this pawn. Black decides who cares about the pawn. And then white takes. Again, so what would the game plan be? For me, black, I don't know what you do. I just chase this queen, I guess. Maybe bring the rooks both on this file and try to attack this king. But really, black should probably resign. Even though you're not supposed to ever resign. That's what the coaches would tell you. But, well, the only thing you can do is try to win on time. So keep as many pieces on the board and just try to win on time. Or hope your opponent blunders. Which to me, that's basically the same as winning on time. Is when your opponent makes a mistake because they're in time pressure. But again, to me, as playing from white side, I'd be trying to win on the clock. I would just go for the game plan. I would probably, even if it's not the fastest way to win, I'd probably bring my queen back here, my rook back here, push my pawns, support it with the king, push my pawns, and support the pawns with the king and the two rooks and the queen. That's what I'd be trying to do. And then just make queens or force the opponent to trade rooks off for the queens. That's what I'd be doing. And then once I got to that point, then I'd look at the position again and decide from there what to do. Again, I'm almost never looking for checkmates. I almost never look for checkmates. I just look, how do I improve the position? That's my strategy. Because I assume as the opponents get tougher, they're not gonna have easy checkmates that just show up. So why go for them? All right. So white plays g3. Black attacks the rook. Rook comes back. See, this is good to me, even though you lose that pawn. Rooks get on the same rank. Push the pawn. That seems good to me. Even though I don't know. I see this rook coming here, bishop going back. I mean, queen going back. And then you're losing this pawn. That's what I see. But you're still up a lot. So if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. Yep, rook, queen back, and then knight takes. I don't know why the queen went to a2. I mean, are you trying to find a quick mate? If it's there, good job. But I just don't see it. I just think it's probably defendable. But this is, to me, someone who doesn't understand the strategy. Like, instead of hoping that your opponent blunders mate, if you're winning on the board, just play the board. Try to create a queen. Use your rooks and queen and king to support these pawns down the board. Eventually, they're going to have to trade. Either they're going to resign or trade material for the pawns. And then you're just up a lot of material. And then you win that position. All right. Okay, black's way down in material, so why not give a check? Why not? Black comes up. Black is clearly trying to make a cheap draw. Don't blame him. Why not? I guess not. I don't know why. Why didn't you just check again? Make white find a different move. You're losing. All right, queen is active, even though that's not my game plan. So basically, what white is doing, what would have to happen is black needs to blunder again. Instead of white just winning, being up so much material, and just forcing the win, white is hoping that black blunders again, which I think that's the wrong strategy. All right, so it looks like black did blunder again because white won the knight. See, like, even though you're up all this material, you're not going to be able to win with just a queen. If you want some kind of, I don't see a quick mate. The best I see is you trade off both rooks, the rooks for the rooks, and then you're still just a queen, and you're not going to be able to win queen versus king without promoting another pawn, or at least having a pawn to help checkmate. So the only thing that's good is white was able to get the queen back over to this side of the board. And me, instead of trying to find a quick way, again, I would probably bring the queen back, bring the rooks out here to try to trade. Or at least, if black won't trade, at least you have control of the open file. And then just push these pawns. That's what I say. All right, that's good. I don't understand that move, but black, I don't know. You're going to lose a rook anyways. I mean, the rook, at least a pair of the rooks are going to get traded off anyways. And there it goes. Try to trade off the other pair. Black correctly declines. But walks into a mate. Me, I didn't even see that mate. Like, I would have, if I'd been playing the game and looking for a move, like, I would have seen it. But it would have taken me probably 5 seconds to see that mate, even though it's such a simple mate. But me, I'm not trying to find mate. I'm trying to win on the board. I'm trying to push my pawns, make queens, and then win. So, but white won that one. And yeah, white got lucky that black made blunders, blundered the queen. So it was, I don't think it was a good game because white didn't win strategically. White won because black blundered. But that's how the game goes. But it was still fine. But I like it when you win strategically, not because of blunders. And now, if black would have blundered the queen because of low on time, that's different. That's strategy, because you made it so your opponent was low on time, and then they're gonna make mistakes. To me, that's strategy. and I can get behind that. All right, so let's go to the next game. This was game 2. Again, unfortunately, game 1 I couldn't do. Let's look at game 3 of round 1. Hopefully this one works. Okay. Apparently this one took only 9 moves. Wow. Man, this video might be short. Okay. Let's see. Emily plays chess, was with the white pieces, and Sabu 13 was with the black pieces. Let's see. We have another e4. This time we have a king's pawn. e5. Knight comes out. So we have a Petrov. Yeah, we have a Petrov's defense. And white correctly captures the pawn. This is not a normal move. So this was a big error. Okay. Normally what black is supposed to play is pawn here, and then the knight comes back, and then you capture the pawn. That's the norm. That's the norm. And d6 is the only good move, according to the engine. Let's see. So clearly at this level, okay, I forgot to mention Emily Plays Chess is rated 1434, and Cebu is rated 1387. So at this level, they probably don't. Cebu probably just didn't know the Petrov. So that's that. So opening advantage clearly goes to white. All right. So the way I see it, white's up a pawn, so it makes sense to take the knight. Is that the best move? What was the best move? Yeah, knight takes c6 is the best move, and you're up almost 2 pawns. So good job. Black takes back, and then white defends the pawn. So good job, you are up a pawn. And your pawn structure is better because black has doubled pawns. So good job. Let's see. So black develops the bishop. Okay, white develops the bishop, but apparently this is bad. Let's see. White should have played h3, according to the engine. Or queen e2, not as good, but also fine. Or queen f3, still not as good, but also fine. So I can see some kind of attack on this pawn. So maybe that's why developing this, I don't know. Let's see. That was a mistake. A big mistake. Wow. Because of knight g4. Yeah, because of knight g4. Yep. Putting pressure on this pawn. And black plays it. Wow. Huh. Clear. And this is the Stafford Gambit. Interesting. Wow, white was totally up, and now black's totally up. Was this on purpose? At this level, maybe I would say no, but it could be Cebu just had a feeling, saw the attack, and just went for it. So white makes another mistake, but it looks like castling would save the day, because it would be rook and bishop and knight takes on a pawn and rook. And even though that's equal material, that should be better for white because the two minor pieces during the opening and middle game should be better than the rook and pawn. Let's see. But while black brings in reinforcements and threatens mate and threatens this pawn, that's pretty good. White plays h3, which is the best move. Now bishop the computer liked bishop takes f2, but the second move was knight takes f2. So knight takes f2, attacks the queen. Queen f3 was a big blunder. And why is that? See, what should have white done? So, according to the computer, white should have gone bishop takes f7. And then king should go to d8. And then queen h5. Interesting. That's tough. That's tough to see. So this was tough. So queen f3, big blunder, and the best move is knight takes h3 check. And is that? It's mate in 6 for the computer. So it goes king h2, knight f2, queen h3, bishop d6, e5, bishop takes e5, king g1, knight takes h3, g takes h3, queen g3 check, king h1, queen h2 mate. But is a 1387 going to find all that? They probably should have kept playing. White should have kept playing. Just play till mate. Probably would have lost, but you never know. Unless your opponent is at least a national master, you should probably keep playing. So that was a quick game, but I don't like how it finished. But, oh well. Stafford Gambit. Brutal. Alright. Let's look at the last game in round 1. Hopefully it works. And it looks like it does. Okay, let's see. We got Segalite as white. He's rated 1571, if that's a he. And we got Kiriyama Kazuo, rated at 1600. That's pretty close. And it looks like black won. And the accuracy is better. They're both around 78. 77, 78. So pretty close game. Let's see. All right. Okay, so white plays e4, and they go into Sicilian. c5. Knight f3, d4, and apparently this is the canal attack. It looks like a Rosalimo to me, but whenever the bishop goes here, to me I think it's a Rosalimo, but maybe it's not. Bishop defends, bishop trades off. Apparently that white bishop is good when it gets traded off because it's in the way of white's other pieces. So it's good if it gets traded off. So good job for white. Alright. Alright, so c4, we get a kind of Maroxy bind on this d5 square. Might be a nice place for the knight to go to, especially if black plays e5. Let's see. Knight comes out, knight comes out, knight comes out, and then we get d4. So far so good. C takes d4, knight takes d4, and we get g6. So far so good. This is definitely the best game so far. Castles, bishop develops, bishop comes out, pawn to a6, that looks good. Either that or castles. F3 seems good. Castles, rook gets itself on the half open file. Rook does the same thing. Alright, this is the first mistake. Apparently, let's see, white should have gone knight to a4. Either knight a4 or knight takes c6 or knight d to e2. Interesting. So knight a4, threatening to jump into the square. So to me that shows that there's just not much to do in the position. The pieces are where they belong. So you're shuffling around, trying to provoke a weakness. So you're threatening to go into the square, or you just take, or you bring your knight back, and then it's black's turn. This is where I would probably have gone knight to e2 and just say, okay, it's black's turn. And this is where I'd be trying to just win on time. I'd be trying to win on the clock. The position's equal. I need my opponent to either make a mistake or lose on time. That's my strategy. All right, so this is a mistake, and the only good move for black to punish this mistake is knight takes d4. Because bishop takes d4 and rook takes c4. So it looks like black wins a pawn. That's what it looks like. Let's see. Black does not see it. And now white is winning. Okay. So the best move is knight takes c6. So white plays it. Pawn is a mistake. Pawn capture. Oh yeah, right. I guess you should take with the rook. And then I'm guessing you probably want to double up. And it's the only open file. It's the only half open file on the board. So okay, that was an inaccuracy, a missed opportunity. Apparently, the best move was knight a4. Computer really likes knight a4. Just ready to jump in, I guess. Oh, right. Because the bishop defends that square as well. So most likely you're going to be able to win in exchange. Computer goes knight a4, rook a to b8, knight to b6, and then rook takes b6. The best move is to take the rook. with the take the knight with the rook. But white does not see it. But they're even on time, so, and white's still got the edge. This is where my strategy, like, I might not have seen that as well. I think I might have seen it because I think I would have saw this fork. But it took me a minute to realize the bishop was also defending that square. So right now I see it, but if in with time pressure and everything, well, not time pressure, but with the clock going and the pressure on, I don't know if I would have seen it really quick. But my game plan would be just trying to win on the clock. So playing a move like rook to d1, even though it's a missed opportunity, might be a move that I would do as well. And knight to e8 was a missed opportunity as well. So let's see. Apparently the move to play is rook to d8, which kind of makes sense. Rook d8, so the knight can't do that fork because you would just move the rook and defend. So it makes sense to get the rook out so that fork's no longer there. And white finally finds knight a4. And the best move, again, the computer likes rook a to b8, but it looks like black played the other rook. Knight jumps in. Black trades the knight for the rook. Rook attacks the bishop. Bishop comes back. This is where I'd be like, okay, I know I'm winning. Just make moves and win on the clock. Win on the clock, wait for the opponent to make another blunder. That's how I'd be trying to win because I don't see a way to win this game. So I would just be, I don't know, maybe try to trade some pawns to open the files. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would trade this bishop off. If I couldn't think of anything else to do, I might do that. But I think I'd rather keep it on the board and just force black to come up with moves and just win on the clock. All right. Queen doubles up with the rook to attack that pawn. White defends. Okay, clearly this is bad because you're down in material. You're down in material, so why would you want to trade pieces? That's the totally wrong advantage. The wrong way to play it. So, I kind of like trading, but I kind of don't because the more pieces are on the board, the longer the game will go on, and the more likely I'll be able to win on the clock. So I would try not to trade pieces, but trading's probably fine. If there was nothing better, I would. At least white, like I like this move, at least white is like, okay, if you're going to trade, you're going to help me double on this file. Even though the knight's doing a great job defending. So I don't know how to improve this. I would have probably moved the queen. And that's probably what I would have done. I'm nervous with pawn pushes like that because, well, if you trade, that's fine. And I guess you got to open the position up somehow to keep progressing. But it's just, I always expect them to push. And then, I don't know. Take, and then this pawn pushes, and then the bishop's open. I don't like it. I'd prefer to stay behind the pawns and just win on the clock. But thankfully, for white, black does trade. This pawn stays here, so the bishop's still behind. So it's still fine. White's up plenty. Let's see how he converts, or she. That seems fine to me. Bishop needs to get out, and try to trade itself, I guess. defends a pawn. Activates the queen. I guess you're attacking this pawn again, so that's good. I guess, yeah, if you can win this pawn, then good for you. And that's what white does. Gets out of the pin. Oh, this is what I don't like. Now what does white do? How do you get out of this? The queen goes back here. Doesn't the rook just keep checking? The queen? Okay. Ooh, now the bishop is under attack. But luckily, white can defend just in time. I think that was a bit lucky. I don't think that was skill. I think that was luck, that the queen happened to be able to come back and defend. See, this is where my bad feeling about the queen going into black's territory, that was I had a bad feeling about it. But white got lucky. Luckily won the pawn, but shouldn't have done it. That's my opinion. All right, black rightly decides not to trade the queens because black's losing. White just decides to attack a rook. I don't see the point. Rook's going to just move. Attack the pawn, okay. That's something, I guess. But there we go. Nice counterattack. Now, see, now, before, yeah, for some reason white really wants to trade queens. And black rightly decides not to. Like, by black declining all the queen trades, you can tell his rating is definitely 1600. I don't know how white won this game, was winning this game. I don't see how, because black to me appears to be a better player. Knows not to trade down. But now they're both down to seconds. So white wins another pawn, but that's in time pressure. But still. Now, if only you could get this queen out of white's territory. And again, I would just be trying to win on the clock. But now with the queen down here, it's a little bit of a headache. But it's probably fine. It's just, to me, when the queen's down in my territory, that would be a headache to me. And I'd be worried all the time about losing something. And now the bishop's involved. Okay, I guess maybe you had to trade rooks. Because, I don't know, this queen coming here, I don't know. Like, it's still not mate, so as long as black can't find mate. Alright. Again, black rightly refuses to trade queens. White should stop trying. Interesting. I guess that was the only move to avoid mate. See, white is winning, but black almost had checkmate. Yeah, that white going into black's territory was a big mistake. To me, that was a big mistake. I wouldn't have done it. To me, I would keep my pieces behind my pawns and pretend my pawns is a nice shield and just push them down. To me, pieces are like arrows or spears that go over the shield to attack, and the pawns are the shield. Okay. Wow. There we go. Black's up. Black's up a piece. Well, a piece for 2 pawns. That's totally a big turnaround. And that was all because white brought the queen down to win a pawn. So that pawn, in my opinion, was poisoned. Should not have gone for it. Should have just came here and gradually won. Gradually improved your pawns and just kept a nice time advantage. Alright, let's see what happens. Alright, so white's plan clearly is to try to make a queen. and black has to stop it. It would be nice if the king could come over to help. That would be nice. And it would be nice if this king could come over and help with these pawns. So to me, that's the game plan. But that's not white's game plan. And black wins the pawn. That's time pressure. That'll do it. The problem is with black is you're up material, but you have to win with the pieces. Like, if you trade, like, this is tough. Because white has a clear, is definitely losing, but at least what the plan is to try to make a queen. What does black do? Black needs to stop this pawn without trading a piece. Because it says black is totally winning, but I don't see how. Because if you trade the knight for the bishop, and then if you have to trade the bishop for this pawn, then that means it's 4 versus 4 and it's a draw. The only thing you can hope for is that somehow this bishop will be able to stop this pawn and help with these against these pawns. And do it at the same time. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay. White's king is faster, but you're down at a pawn. You're down. Black's up a knight for one pawn. See, how does white improve? I don't. See, the whole time white was up in the game, and man, it's horrible. You went for a pawn, and then you ended up losing the queen. You end up losing. It's just terrible. Yeah, I think white has to go for this. You gotta hope that you can draw this, because this is tough to win. But so the first job was to control this pawn, which the bishop is doing. And now you got to somehow win on. You got to somehow hope that the bishop can also help with these pawns. Trade. Now the king's involved, so black should win. If this king was more involved over here, then it could be a draw. I don't know. It would be tough to win. Maybe grandmasters could do it, but now this is an easy win. Just push the pawns. And see, you need to, I think your king, you either, and you want to be careful you don't stalemate the king, because this bishop is eyeing this square. So if the pawns come down in the wrong place and the king is in the corner, it might be stalemate. So that's the tricky part. What you got to do is the king has to be over here somewheres, and then push the pawns. Okay, I don't understand why black went there. This game was good. I don't know how the accuracy is so high. It's not in the 90s or anything, but I don't know how the accuracy is this high. Like, at least take the pawn. At least take the pawn. Why aren't you taking the pawn? There, finally he takes the pawn. And now, at least the bishop is free to help. Okay, now white probably got bored. So he made the wrong move. He should have stayed in the corner. Now, black just makes a queen. See if black can mate with just a queen. He's 1600, so should be able to do it. and white doesn't go the right way. That's mate. This game was better than the other games, but I don't like how white lost this. Like, white was in the driver's seat, and if you would have just kept your pieces back, stayed up material, and just made gradual improving moves and just try to win on the clock, and then wait for your opponent to make a mistake. Win on the clock, make moves when you have to, like make improving moves, but you want to get a time advantage. That's my strategy. That's how I would have played this game. But that was round 1. Let's see. That was round 1. The next video, I'll be analyzing round 2. And I'll do round 3, and round 4, and round 5, and round 6, and round 7. And then I'm guessing there'll be a round 8. But that's it for this time. Thanks for joining. This is Act Like a Grandmaster. I do have a Twitch channel, which I don't stream as much as I'd like to, but I'm trying to make that to a habit. And I'm just trying to become a better chess player, and my overall knowledge of the game I want to improve. Thanks for tuning in, and hope you come back. Bye.